Hi, and welcome to City Happenings. I'm Mayor David Black. This year's Papillion Days featured some new elements and was again a great success. The Papillion Community Foundation's executive director gives us her critique. And just inside the main door of Sump Library is a small room with used books. The sign says, Friends of the Library. For those who don't know, we'll tell you about Friends of the Library, what it is and what it does. And there's a new business in downtown Papillion, and we'll take you to the ribbon cutting. These stories are next in City Happenings for the week of July 23rd.
Thanks, Mayor Black. The Papillion Community Foundation's director takes a look back at the 71st Papillion Days held last month.
Everything that I've gathered so far as data, talking to vendors, talking to the carnival, talking to, is we had record crowds. I think the parade crowd was off a little bit just because it was so hot during that time.
It was a tough week with the heat.
But overall, I feel pretty successful for my first, my first one. And after having we had an after-action review with the city folks, and we got good feedback. We've taken a lot of notes. There are some things we did well, things we didn't do so well. We listen to citizens who have come to us with, ideas, complaints, those kinds of things, and we're trying to take all of that data in together now and just, make sure that we make improvements each time we go, each year, so that things just get better.
What about moving the parade start time to before noon to avoid the heat?
We've had some informal discussions about that. It is a state road that we have to close, or there are some limitations there. But yeah, I definitely think everything is on the table, to look at. Obviously, the safety of the public is the most important thing, and it was very hot, for all the people participating and watching. So, we want to make the parade, that's the one thing that people really relate to for Papillion Days, and it's our chance to show off, what we do in Papillion. So, we're looking at any suggestions and any changes that we can make to make that better. So I'm not going to say that's off the table. It's certainly something we're going to discuss. We need to also, understand what the rules are from the state to close down that road.
There are other elements that need to be considered before making any changes.
We do have some kids' activities at the firehouse. I don't think moving those up is reasonable. So we do have to have a little bit of a buffer during that time to get those activities done, because I don't know if it's appropriate to do those after either because of the heat as well with little kids. So, but all things that we can look at to see if there's a way to make things a little bit more bearable when the heat is the indexes that we had.
Communicating better is the biggest concern.
What is the schedule? Where to go to get the schedule? How to read the schedule? We have a website, www.papilliondays.org. There's a schedule tab at the top of that page, and it specifically lays out every day, the times, the dates. But some of those things, weren't as clear maybe as I thought they were, so I need to have maybe more eyes on that to make sure that it's very, very clear where things are located, what time they start, because not everybody looks at it with the same eyes.
When it comes to inclement weather, there's a specific policy that the carnival follows.
If there's lightning within 2 miles, we have to shut down. It's a safety, it's for everyone's safety. So my suggestion to folks is before you buy that wristband on that day, if you haven't already pre-purchased a wristband, you check the weather. Check the weather forecast, because the best option might be to, instead of buy a wristband, to buy tickets, because those tickets can be used as long as the carnival's open, and then those can be saved. The ones that aren't used can be saved for the following year, and the carnival will honor those. So you can bring back tickets that were unused and use those next year. And I know that the tickets are more expensive than maybe the carnival wristbands, but if there's a chance of inclement weather and you want to go participate in the carnival, it just might be a better way to make sure that you're not losing any kind of money if we do have to shut down due to lightning, or inclement weather.
There is a lot to be happy about.
Wednesday night was huge. We had over 1,500 at Sumter for the concert, so I got a lot of positive feedback for that event. You know, the parade was a little bit shorter. We limited parade applicants this year so that we didn't run into that 3-4 hour time range, because that's really too long for people to sit. I got great feedback on the crowning of the Miss Nebraska USA. That was, you know, just having them here in town, and even though we couldn't have Sarah Rose Hummers, to have somebody representing her and you know, giving her that opportunity to do her first actual official function as Miss Nebraska USA, taking Sarah's place, was pretty neat. That was you know, I got a lot of feedback from that. You know, the lines were long, but people enjoyed the vendor fair. They enjoyed the carnival. You know, so the kiddie parade or the kiddie activities record numbers. The parents just, you know, great accolades. We had this really fun ninja course that Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping came out, and the kids just had a blast with that. We had bounce houses. We had a record number of participants in the parade, and so that was a lot of fun. You know, we had the Sarpy Serenaders for senior night on Thursday. That got some great feedback. We had a young band that had to come in and fill in for a last minute, you know, on that night as well, had to come in and fill in for a last minute cancellation for seniors, and that, you know, they stepped up. They were community members, young kids, and they stepped up and did that. And then the Blues Ed kids that played on Thursday night, you know, it's a great program here in Omaha, and they came out and we had good response for that. So, I mean, there were a lot of really positive things to build on.
The Friends of the Library is an independent nonprofit organization that is not part of the city or of the library.
Our charter says we are there to help support the library. We do, things that they don't have the funds for. For example, last summer they needed some coats or some t-shirts for the summer reading children. So we said we'd gladly do that. And we bought people in, like the people that do the balloons and face painting, and we'd pay for that. It's mostly things that the library did not budget for and are popping up.
There are several non-literary things that the Friends of the Library support.
We've done things like we paid for the sign out in front of the library that says Sump Memorial Library. We bought computers for this, and we've done everything that we can just to support the library.
This is a 100% volunteer effort.
So we don't get paid for this. We've got 2 people under the age of 35 by volunteers. The rest are all in their 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Friends of the Library generates funds through book sales.
Our paperbacks are 50 cents, and the hardbacks are $1.50, and we have sales, so it's very reasonable. We have an informal agreement with the library that all the books that get donated have to go to the library first. They get first chance to use them or to give them to us. So we're at the mercy of the library to give us all our books, and we sure could use some more people volunteering to give books.
You can also help with monetary donations.
That would be fantastic. We actually had one of the volunteers' husband had a donor advisory fund, and he gave us $1,000 to buy some new bookshelves. And we paid for the rest of it, but because of that generous donation, we have safer shelves now. The older ones were wooden and were kind of a hazard. They're just particle board, and not very safety. And to me, being in the Air Force, safety is the #1 thing.
As for volunteering, it's a personal decision.
Well, we all have our different reasons. Me personally, I retired from the Air Force after 36 years, and I said I want to do some volunteer work for Papillion. And I wanted to do volunteer work in the library because I love reading. And a lot of our patrons and our volunteers like to read, so that's why they're here. Others have a passion for it. Our program manager and our operations officer, Polly, have a background in books. Polly used to have Polly's bookstore out on 84th Street across from Burger King. And she came here and she brings a wealth of knowledge. Same thing with Kim White. She knows a lot about books, and she manages the way we run our bookstore.
We'll hear from Kim White in a future show. A new business opens in the Bell Place Shops in downtown Papillion.
Thanks for opening up. I think one of the best things going on in Papillion is the downtown businesses. There's just so much. You talk about entrepreneurship, innovation. People have a dream. They come down here and start them. And there are so many businesses down here. And almost everyone's a Papillion resident, just has a dream and a vision. So thank you very much for opening. It's really important to the city. Also, Tom Mumgard, City Councilman, who represents this ward. Have him share a few words.
I just want to point out that I hear often about Papillion needing to have the small town, keep the small town feeling. Well, this is what does it. We're not a suburban mall. This is something that says small town feeling. So I'm all in favor of it. Anything the city can do to promote this kind of a business, great. I'm all for it.
Buy local.
Welcome. Welcome to Ward 4, the best ward in the city.
3, 2, 1.
We remind you that there are so many things to do in Papillion. With the warm weather, there's Papillion Bay Aquatic Park. We have 3 splash pads throughout the city. There's First Street Plaza, Eagle Ridge, and Schweer Park. Don't forget all of the great and entertaining events at Sumter Amphitheater. And always, our incredible park system is second to none in Papillion. There are lots of ways to stay up to date with what's happening. You can find us on Facebook, follow the City of Papillion on Twitter, or even watch our YouTube channel. Information about all of our departments and programs is available on our website. For more about Papillion, go to www.papillion.org or just call the Mayor's Hotline at 402-827-1111. Thanks for watching.